I will call to the podium without any further ado the candidate that you must vote for. Comes May 24th, Georgetown West, Ellio Solomon. Ellio Solomon. Ellio Solomon.
Ellio, go for it, man. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Let me first of all say that a couple of my colleagues who spoke talked about the fact that they'd like to see more people. Well, let me just say I know all about when you're in the party, how we go ahead and we make sure and we ship people in from every district so that we can make sure that we look like we have a big crowd. But we have a good crowd. And Jesus Christ changed this world with 12 disciples. We can make a big difference as well. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reiterate on something you have already heard. Allow me to share a little bit of my heart as it goes. And for all of those persons who are listening in their cars and in their homes, hopefully they'll decide to come out and join us. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible says that a wise man lives in the house of mourning. And I'll tell you what I interpret from that statement. I interpret that it is only sometimes when we are sitting in that room with a coffin and having to deal with the realization of death, grappling with death, that we come to realize and appreciate how important and how great and how awesome it is to truly be alive. And King Solomon said, he said at the end of the day, he says, the keepers of the gate shall tremble, and the knees of the young man shall bow, and the grinders shall cease to grind because they are few. And what is he talking about? He's talking about old age. And why am I telling you this, ladies and gentlemen? Because if more of us in this country understood that every election time that we have a chance to cast a vote, we are not just going down to the polls to vote for some friend. I watch him on Facebook talking, oh yeah, he got this one, as if it's something small and insignificant. Every time you go to the polls and vote, you are giving away 4 years of your life and 4 years of your children and your grandchildren's lives. Understand that one thing we can be assured of, they say, is taxes and death. And every 4 years, whether you accept it or not, we walk a little bit closer to death. And so when you go to that polls this time, understand this. You are casting a vote for someone that you are trusting to take the next 4 years of your life and to do something positive with it. So many people in Georgetown West are what we would consider elderly people. And I want you all to reflect for a moment on when you were a young man or a young woman and how you felt like you had all the time in the world to do all that you wanted to do. But I bet you, for you today, it's a lot different. Because now you're old and you don't have a job. And if you have a job, you wonder how long you're going to keep it. And your health has been failing you, if it has not failed already. And surely you look back and you said, how many years perhaps did I waste in my life? That's what it is when the Bible tells you that a wise man lives in the house of mourning. Appreciate the life that you have. Appreciate these simple decisions of who you are going to vote for in this 4 years. And ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear about it. I am sure if any one of you, particularly those elderly persons, know that tonight you're going to lie down and pass away, and you need to leave your children and grandchildren with someone who can navigate the rough seas in this life, I sure hope you're not going to pass it on to someone who's saying, hey, give me a chance. You're going to find someone that knows what it is to be on rough seas. You're going to find someone that knows what it is to be on a big boat or a small boat in rough seas. And ladies and gentlemen, it is no different when it comes to your vote. I can never understand how people make it like it's nothing. We choose our person that does our electrical work or our tiling with more interest than we choose the persons who we are going to vote for. Let me give you an illustration. You want right now to find a simple tiler, and let's understand this. If a tiler lays tilers and you don't like it, you dig them up. No big deal. Just a little small cost. And to find a tiler, we go around and we start to talk to our friends. Do you know a good tiler? Yes, I know one. And we're not asking our friend just to tell us someone that we heard about. You know why we are asking our friends? Because we want him or her to tell us about someone that they have a practical experience with, that they can say, yes, he did tiling for me, and it was perfect. And if he did perfect tiling for me, I believe he can do perfect tiling for you. If we do that, ladies and gentlemen, with our tiler, why in the world would we do anything different with the persons we are going to entrust with 4 years of our lives? Why? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, and I have to do the comparison between myself and my competitors. Because when I come as a tiler, I want to come to you with my resume. Or as an electrician, I want to say I did this job, that job, and the list goes on. You must do the same thing in terms of candidates you are going to be voting for. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have competitors that can perhaps brag that they've played cricket for 30 years. But ladies and gentlemen, you need more than cricket to represent you in the Legislative Assembly. And I'm not knocking anyone, I'm just giving you the reality. I have the friend of mine that talked about the cannabis oil. And I like that, I appreciate it, at least he's done something. But it's going to take more than cannabis oil to be able to run this country and to make sure that you have proper health care, that you and your family have food to eat, that you have a job. It takes more than that. And I listened the other night as the CDP candidate stood here and talked about what the CDP did, what the CDP did. I need to tell that individual that when he's bragging about what CDP has done, he's talking about what Ellio Solomon has done. That individual needs to go and do something himself that he can stand here and talk about, look at what I have done. In this particular neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen, I can proudly say that the same people who are running for the second term, I come into this neighborhood, I remember 2009, and not from government expenditure. I went to the private sector and begged like anyone in this country can do. And I got the money to fix up this park with this cabana, the swings, the trees that you see planted. I did that in 2009. And I did the same thing for Georgetown Central, and I did the same thing for Washington area, a.k.a. the swamp. And the only reason I didn't do Watlers Road because it was already done. When the person talks about affordable homes, I stood here in 2009 and I told you that the then leader of government business, Mr. Tibbetts, had 775 applications sitting on his desk for affordable homes. And this is just a reality. Get past all the personalities. Not one single home was built. And I stood here in 2009. I made the promise that if and when elected, I would build affordable homes. And no matter what they want to say, Ellio Solomon built affordable homes. I built 26 in Windsor Park. I built 29 in West Bay. I built 12 in East End and 20 in Barton Town. So even the minister who don't know it's 87 affordable homes. And did that, ladies and gentlemen, when the country had very little money. Which is why I said at the end of the day, we did very much with very little. And let me share something with you, ladies and gentlemen, the leader of the opposition. It hurts me, and I can share it with you. It hurts because I'm a human being and I have flesh and blood and I have feelings. To know that that same individual can stand here and walk around Nancy all around the mulberry bush and can't even mention what Ellio Solomon has done. And can come to you telling you that so-and-so is the best candidate when he very well knows he is not the best candidate. And at the end of the day, it hurts because you know that not only did I stand there and defend this country and the government, I also stood on principle when it was him involved and said, regardless of what they're going to do, he is innocent until proven guilty. And today, he cannot even say one kind word about me. Let me ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. How many of you have worked hard for your employer or for a friend? And when you were friendly to them and you needed them most, they were not your friend. But that is precisely the situation that I have. But I won't belabor it. My opinion I'll keep to myself because ultimately what I want is a chance to represent you again in the Legislative Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just talk a little bit about some of my accomplishments and bore you. There's at least 35 and I can't give you all. And some of my competitors might say, yeah, but some of those things he did in the government, you can also do things when you're in the private sector. Let me give you an example. I sat there in the government, worked there for 13 years, and because I recognized that we had a problem, there was a lack of communication. People in this country could not see what was happening within the government. I went out and formed a company, call it kpolitics.com. And the slogan of that company was, now everyone has a voice. Because when I started it in July of 2001, I wanted to give everyone, particularly those civil servants, a voice in this country. That was privately funded. Also, as a private citizen, I worked and supported persons like Mr. Pearson and got assigned to the e-business advisory board. Worked diligently to finish off the Vision 2008 IT strategy number 12, which all of that came together to be able to liberalize telecommunications. Because in case you have forgotten, there was a time in this country when, first of all, you couldn't afford a cell phone. And if you could afford it, it was 25 cents a minute to make the call and 25 cents a minute to receive it. You can now carry 2 telephones on your hip, and the prices are decent because of the things that I did to liberalize telecommunications in this country. And ladies and gentlemen, the list goes on. I talked about the affordable homes. Even right now, you would have seen displayed on these screens my company vision. That company vision, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is? It's not there to make $1 million. It is to be able to sit primarily with our elderly people and to interview them for posterity so that when they're dead and gone, we don't have to hear their stories. We can see them telling those stories themselves. Because I have said 1,000,000 times, what is Hero Square? If I go out there and see the names and I have no idea what the story is. I have to know the story. And that's why I did vision. And ladies and gentlemen, my colleague here talked about the pension. I did a lot. And when you hear the parties will come to you and tell you, oh, you got to work with the party if you want to get anything done. That's not so, ladies and gentlemen. I heard the leader of the opposition accuse the premier of not having his manifesto completed on time. I wish I could have texted Alden an answer. What he should have said is, if you haven't done anything for 4 years, well, you can use the same document. But if you've done something, you have to change it. But either way, I'm not his advisor. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, go and dig it up. Ask them for their manifesto for 2009. That's when I ran and got elected. Tell me in there where you saw the pension amendment. Tell me in there where you saw all of this stuff about the affordable homes. All of this palaver and garbage about, oh, you need to be organized to get things done. Rubbish. Show me in there where there was a Dr. Shedder project. Show me in there where there was a project to build the Kimpton Hotel. It was not in there. We did it when we got elected. And I'm telling you, you don't vote for a party. You vote for a strong, independent individual that can work with anyone. Because his priority is to put this country first. That is what you have to do, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to look around and see how many persons are running as independent candidates. I stood one time in the courts, and here is what I heard. A lawyer said, he said, when the turtle comes from the river bottom and tells you that it is cold, then it is cold. And I want you to understand the reason, one of the fundamental reasons why so many persons are running as independent candidates is because they have been there and they know what the parties are doing, and they're trying desperately to escape. And let me just say this to you, ladies and gentlemen. Your vote is going to be critical. If you see the parties winning this election, you would have sent a clear message to all of those independents. Don't do it again. Run party. And if you do that, the parties will have the power. They have no care and no regard for you. Because no one will take this road. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to have persons at the end of the day, just like your tiler, just like your electrician. You have to choose the best person to do your house. You have to choose the best person that can take care of your child. See my young daughter there? I have 3 daughters, 2 perfectly fine, as we would say, and 1 that is a special needs child. And every day I think about it, and I say, who is going to take care of this little girl when I'm gone? And tears come to my eyes because I said I won't be there to take care of her when I'm gone. And I know that when I go, I want to leave someone that I can trust to take care of her. And you have to do the same thing with your country, ladies and gentlemen. Please, I am begging you, if it's a party member and it's the best person, vote for him. And if it's an independent that is the best person, vote for him. Your job is not to worry who is going to form the government. Your job is to send the best man or woman from this hole, from this constituency. You do that and let God sort the rest out. Because I can tell you, whatever 9 monkeys, elephants, or whatever you put in there, 10 of them will come together and form the government. Don't make no party tell you anything different. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just chat with you a little bit, because I don't want to bore you with a long list of 35 things that I have accomplished, because I'll be handing that out hopefully soon to your doors, so that you can do a proper comparison and make a proper note. But to everyone who's standing here today in this area and within the sound of my voice immediately and in the future, I am asking you to go out and to spread the word and to show your colleagues that giving up 4 years of your life is a very important, serious, and fundamental decision, and it has to be done right. I want to chat first of all. There was a gentleman by the name of Maslow many years ago that figured out that there are some fundamental things that we need. There's a hierarchy in terms of what we need as human beings. And let me share the first couple. You need water, you need food, and you need shelter. And I'm going to add, you need health care. Because if you wake up in the morning and you're not healthy, trust me, as old people would say, dog, eat your supper. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me chat with you very quickly about water. When I was in the government, I proposed that the pensions in this country because the government was talking about selling the water authority for 75 million. I did everything I could to roadblock it because I do not believe that this country's water reserves should be sold into private hands, particular private hands from a foreign country. We in this country must control our own water supply. And therefore I believe and I propose then, and I will say it now, if I have my way, I will work to ensure that the pensions in this country do not just go to Asia, to Europe, or the United States to be invested, but we can bring it home and invest it right here in the Cayman Islands. You should be able to own your own water supply and at least have the pleasure to know that every time you turn the tap on, toilet flushes, or someone waters the lawn, more money is going into your pension for retirement. And there are persons who are awkward about investing your pensions, which is why, ladies and gentlemen, I brought the pension amendment withdrawal that said give Caymanians, that includes status holders, an opportunity to be able to withdraw the money from their pension up to $35,000 to buy a piece of land, build a house, buy a house, or to pay your mortgage off. I can tell you that in order for me to get it passed, the very minister at the time did not want it. I had to call McKeever every day, and I kept saying, McKeever, come on. He said, I'm not stopping it, you know. I said, I know you don't want it. You know how I know he didn't want it? Because trust me, in the UDP, we said it right. UDP is no party, that's McKeever Bush. Whatever McKeever Bush wants, McKeever Bush gets. I saw them put major immigration changes in our legislation. Did it in 2 weeks. And it took me 2 years to fight to give Caymanians access to their pension, to buy a piece of land, build a house, buy a house, or pay off your mortgage. Pathetic. But I did it, ladies and gentlemen. I did it. I even had to call Mr. Bush one time on the phone outside of my apartment. My wife had to tell me to keep my voice down. I told him everything in all the colors under the rainbow. If I didn't get that passed, that's what it takes. And when you vote for me in 2017, May 24th, the year of our Lord, I am going to do the same thing, fighting every day for Georgetown West and for the people of the Cayman Islands. And while I'm on the pensions, let me talk about this. I know what it is. When I was bringing that pension amendment, I had about 28 of the lobbyists, the pension representatives inside of the room, all fighting why that money could not leave. Let's be clear about something, ladies and gentlemen. And I am not saying this to disparage against the pension companies. I am just being honest. Their job is to keep as much money for as long as possible in that pension because that's how they make their money. And they don't want you to get access. And this is why I do not agree with a lot of the amendments that has been put even in the pension law right now. And let me talk about one of those, which is in relation to the expat workers. Ladies and gentlemen, to me, politics is like running a home. I have to put my family first. And I have to make sure that what I have as a rule for my family is the same rule for the person who visits. What's good for the goose, good for the gander. And ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to be a good household, a good business, we must have fair business practices. And the foreign workers that came to this country came with an understanding that they would work hard, and when they reach a certain point of leaving this country by rollover or voluntary, that they would get access to their pension when they leave. And ladies and gentlemen, it is about father, about mother, it is about businessman, and it's about leader of a country who breaks a legitimate contract with the people who came here to work hard for them. We have to be able to allow those persons when they leave here to get their money back. They want to go home. They want to build homes. They want to feed their families. And I am not going to partake in being a den of thieves, because that's precisely what it would be. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I will look constantly, and I'm going to mandate that we can invest our pensions in this country. I want to touch on another issue which is of very great import to me, and it is health care. So many of all of our people, whether they're young or old, you have businesses that are paying out of the wazoo for health care. It is killing big business and definitely killing small business in this country. And it is killing the employees as well. I want to make changes, ladies and gentlemen, to lower that cost of health care. And I have a plan of which I am not going to get into all the details here. As a wonderful artist once says, what's good to eat isn't necessarily good to talk. Because I can assure you, that group of insurance companies, and the list goes on, probably isn't going to like that plan. But ladies and gentlemen, I honestly believe that if you look at health care in this country when it was initially brought in 96, 97, it was primarily done to ensure that you could be insured for hospitalization, for catastrophic or terminal illnesses. And now the system is being abused, and people are paying high fees. And bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, I want to be able to create a medical fund that's going to allow every single person in this country, operated and controlled arguably by the private sector, yes, but be able to contribute to that fund to ensure that we can cut this health insurance cost in half, if not more. And I assure you it can and it will be done if you elect me in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, on medical research, and I want to just show you how pathetic it is. You know, ladies and gentlemen, King Solomon in the Bible was faced with a situation where, I'm sure many of you know the story. Two mothers were there. One was the legitimate mother of the child and the other was not. And the illegitimate mother stole the child in the middle of the night. And then they woke up fighting as to who exactly this child belonged to. And so they brought it before Solomon, who at the end of the day made a wise and prudent decision. Because they wouldn't stop the quarreling, he says, bring the axe, I'm going to chop the child in two and share it equally. The mother, the illegitimate mother says, yes, do that. And the real legitimate mother says, no, please don't do that. Do whatever you want, give it to her, but just don't kill the child. You see, a real mother doesn't want to see anything happen to her child. And I'm going to put this to you, that a real leader never wants to see anything bad happen to this country. So this is why I can tell you, they can accuse me of taking tales out of school, but let me just tell you something. Truth leads to life, and lies lead to death. I'm going to tell you the truth. I remember, for example, people coming forward, one individual coming and saying, I want to build homes to provide Caymanians with affordable homes. And you know what the leader of my party at the time says? Oh, no, not him. He not with me. You see that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not afraid to say it. That shows me you do not care. Because if you are a legitimate father or mother, regardless of where that food is going to come from for your child, you're going to say, give it to them. Give it to them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned that to talk about medical research. Dr. T talked about this medical research. He raised the idea with me. And by the way, again, he talked about the accusations that they give him. Ladies and gentlemen, while I was on the rooster, which was something else that I did between 2006 and 2009, Dr. Tomlinson raised to me the fact that we didn't have human organ and tissue transplant. We didn't have the capacity that if tonight you wake up and your wife or your spouse needs a kidney, that you could go ahead and donate one of yours. We didn't have the capacity. He gave it to me. He told me about it. And when I got elected, I brought the motion. I chaired the committee. And I aided in drafting the law. And now we have legislation that deals with human organ and tissue transplant. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about medical research, let me show you how these irresponsible fathers of this country are. These irresponsible leaders. They will actually go out and spread all kind of rumors like we're going to be cutting up babies and killing pigs and whatever else it is with medical research. They will do anything to destroy that project. They will do anything they can as long as you don't get elected. That shows you they do not care about this country we call the Cayman Islands. And it shows they do not care about you. But ladies and gentlemen, medical research, let me give it to you very quickly. Because to me, we have been doing it in this country for years. I can remember my grandmother waking me up and saying, Ellio, I need to find a piece of bush. Go here, go there, look there, and bring a little leaf and bring that to me. See how she knew all those medicinal things? I have no idea. We also got up and said, see the bar there, throw it on the ground. If ants eat it, you can eat it. If they don't eat it, you can't eat it. Well, in medical research terms, that would probably be called animal testing. But ladies and gentlemen, we won't be doing animal testing here. No. When those same drugs, ladies and gentlemen, that you go to buy off of the shelf, like a Tylenol or a Panadol, they had to be made somewhere. And there is an opportunity for those same companies to come here and to make it here. It is a $36 billion market. And if we can work, ladies and gentlemen, we can put hundreds of millions of dollars into this country. But just like the baby with Solomon, if it's not their baby, if it's not their idea, they will say, kill it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to assure you that just like the human organ and tissue transplant, the real beneficiaries of it are the people of this country. And if I'm elected and when you elect me in 2017, May 24th, I am going to bring medical research which is going to create real opportunities in this country. We have architects that can build the buildings or design the buildings. We're going to need contractors to build the buildings. We're going to need companies to bring in supplies, companies to calibrate the equipment. Myriad of opportunities for a young 800 students that leave high school every year and have no job. Now I want to continue on with something else. While I was in office, I had a chance, and it was again invoked by someone in the private sector. But it was about going, ladies and gentlemen, in this country. We do not have a drive in this country by our elected leaders to ensure that we are even self-sufficient. Do you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that if a hurricane comes between here and Florida and sits for a week or 2 weeks, like Mitch did in 1998, in Honduras, we are going to be down here starving to death because no supplies are going to reach here. You hear them talking about, oh, we've been here for 26, 30 years. We do not even have enough space in this country to bury the dead if a hurricane comes. Not even enough space to bury the dead. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to tell me that that's proper management of a country? A health care in crisis? And let me just say something again about that health care. Let me show you why our weak leaders do nothing about it. We have people who are paying. And here's the amazing part. It is mandated. In other words, made compulsory by the government that you must pay it. And I call that a tax. And you pay it. And here are the insurance companies. When you finally get sick, they say, well, boy, you know, we can't take care of you, you know. That's a precondition. You had that before. And when these older people now get 60, 65, that they need an umbrella because it's raining, the insurance company will come and take it back. No, ladies and gentlemen, it can't work like that. And I want to tell you, particularly for our younger people and for our elderly, I want to give them very affordable health care in this country, if not free. I want them to have free medical care. And we can do it. Don't let nobody tell you that we can't do it. They're the same naysayers that said, oh, we can't build a Dr. Shetty. Oh, we can't build affordable homes. Oh, we can't have a Kimpton Hotel. They're the same ones who said it. Let's prove them wrong on May 24th, 2017. So, ladies and gentlemen, understand that our economy, ladies and gentlemen, is in a crisis. I am pretty sure any of you right now who is now managing and bringing money in for your home realizes that if you lose your job, you are in major problems. Well, let me tell you this. This country called the Cayman Islands has two jobs, two primary jobs right now that brings in the money. It's tourism and financial services. And both of those industries are under threat. Cuba is already opening up and is going to be causing major problems and negative impacts on our tourism product. And our financial services is under attack by the UK and the OECD. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when, because we need to find new ways to diversify this economy and bring money in. And medical research is one of those ways that we can do it, and we are going to do it after May 24th, 2017. And I make a pledge that when elected, I want to go out east and free up a lot of this locked land so that we can give our local farmers proper place to raise livestock and to grow plant products. And we need to do it in a way that manages the prices, but we also have to make sure that the supermarkets are going to buy those products, are going to sell those products, and most importantly, we are going to consume local, good, and healthy products in our own country. And I also believe, ladies and gentlemen, that nothing stops us from being our own good business people. Call us imperialists or otherwise, that stops us from going, whether it's Cuba, Jamaica, Honduras, some other part of the world, buying farms that already exist and using those products to bring it back home to provide cheaper products, healthier products to our people, and at the same time make additional revenues through the export. And they might want to tell you that can't be done either. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, you go to Honduras, you can drive for miles and see the Dole plantations, for example, in terms of bananas. Where they go? They go from here to the United States and then to the Cayman Islands. You ever see anything as famous as that? That makes no sense. Bring it straight from Honduras. And I say be able to buy the farms so you know at the end of the day, healthier people, lower costs, and make additional revenues for the export as well. Ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to wrap it up. But let me also talk about small business. I've had a chance to walk around in Georgetown West, and we have a lot of young persons and middle-aged people that want an opportunity to be able to run their business and to make some money. And that's why I'm concerned about lowering fees such as health care. But I'm also going to provide, and by the way, one again of my competitors used to work for the Department of Commerce and Investment, but he can't tell you what he did. There's a lot of things that could have been done by small business if he did the job, but he didn't do it. He left there in 2 years, and now he's applying for another one. Not a good record, ladies and gentlemen, not a good record. So, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm elected, I'm also going to push to ensure that we can provide the advice to be able to help our business, our entrepreneurs. And equally, if not more importantly, I'm going to provide the funding to make sure that their business can run properly. And let no one tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it can't be done. I hear him talking about management of funds. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a reserve account that had approximately $96 million in it. You know what the government was doing with it? Putting it in a bank account, a little simple term account that's making 0.001%. When you get the interest, it's so small it can fill one pocket. But yet, the pensions are being invested and making 6.7%. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could invest our reserves the same way, that would turn around and give us $5 or $6 million alone to be able to help small businesses, to be able to help families pay off their arrears. We can do it, ladies and gentlemen. What has happened is in this country for too long, we're voting for people who don't really care about the people of this country. So when I'm elected, I am going to work, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that small businesses can get their money. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me close. And I want to close by giving you a little analogy. When my daughter would call me from New York and ask me questions, I would always say to her, you got to take it back to the plains of the Serengeti. Take it back, keep it simple, so you can figure out the answers. But let me give you an analogy, ladies and gentlemen, about truth. Picture a man standing in the desert, and to his right is water, and to his left is the desert. If anyone approaches that man and says, please point me out as to where I can get water, if he points to the right, he is going to give that man life. And if he points to the left, he is going to kill the man. Ladies and gentlemen, truth is life and lies is death. And I say it again, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to understand that every day you and your family walk and you thread and you are walking 4 years closer to your death. Let it be a perfect certainty for you. So when you go to the polls, stop thinking about who drinks with me, who smokes with me, how he looks, whether he's my friend. Vote for someone who can captain a ship, who has shown you, who has proven to you what he can do. I am asking you on May 24th, 2017, in the year of your Lord, go into that booth, pull the curtain, take that pencil, mark 1X for Ellio Anthony Solomon, and walk out. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you, when you elect me, I am going to make Georgetown West the medical capital of the Cayman Islands. Just like how I employed 800 people in this country to do cleanup, and not at $6, but at 10, I'm going to make this the cleanest little constituency in this country as well. And equally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to work to make sure that this Cayman Islands is, yes, perhaps the smallest, but it is the greatest little country in the world. I believe that. I know we can do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, May 24th, 2014, vote for Ellio Solomon. God bless you, and God bless the Cayman Islands.
Ellio Solomon! Ellio Solomon! Ellio Solomon!
I have proven to you that as an elected official that wasn't even a minister, a mere backbencher, I was able to accomplish at least 35 things. That for the mother out there who is still wondering how she is going to find milk to feed her very child, that I say it is her turn now. For the young graduates that are coming out of school and have no idea if they will find a job, I say it is their turn now. For the fathers who understand the pains and know that they have no job and no idea how they're going to feed their families, I say it is your turn now. For those companies that are burdened down with medical insurance, I say it is your time now. I say, ladies and gentlemen, that the 2.4 billion that is going to be spent in this economy, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you and for your family to benefit from it. It is your turn now. What I am telling you, if I could do that with no power, imagine what they should be able to do as a minister.